Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Game Over Outdoors. I'm just taking a little bit of a break right now in the creek. Got probably about an hour left of daylight, and just taking a break from the action because it's been a decent evening for action. Not much for hero shots, but 0 for 2 on the muskies and 1 for 1 on the bass. It's been a top water kind of evening. I did have one muskie hit a Cinco and pop off. The other one clobbered a top raider. And I don't know what happened. It just came unpinned on the first jump about halfway to me. And the bass came out and hit a figure 8 top raider, so go figure. Got that one in though. But anyway, today I'm going to take you back to an earlier trip that I had this year. One of the first times we actually had green water in the creek. And I was fishing my way up the creek here with some different baits. I was throwing a swim jig and a bazooka baits rattle glide, and I was moving fish, but they were not committing. So cannot emphasize any more strongly having a nice throwback bait. Find something you're confident that if that fish doesn't take the initial retrieve, then you're going to pitch back in there and have a very good chance that that fish is going to smash it. And in this creek, my throwback bait has changed over the years, and right now it's a Cinco or some sort of soft plastic worm. In this particular episode, you're going to see me pitching back to these fish with a Zoom trick worm in bubblegum color. Of all colors, I know there's people that understand the bubblegum, and then there's people it's like there's nothing out there that's that pink. Whatever it is, I can't explain it, but they like it. And in this episode, I end up raising 2 different fish. And actually, I think I was pitching back to those fish and caught separate fish than the ones that I raised. They kind of stack up in this one pool that I was in during the winter time, so it very well could have been different fish each time. But anyway, so the wind was really bad this day. You're going to see me getting blown around a little bit and hear me complaining a lot because when it's windy, I oftentimes have multiple harsh conversations with the wind. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get you started, so check out some of this action. Hopefully you enjoy. There's one. And he went down. Oh, no. Well, unfortunately, I had just turned the camera off when I was going through a tree with my head, and I had made a pitch right before I hit the tree and forgot to turn it back on. And of course, as I was throwing back to this fish I raised with the trick worm, a different fish come up and ate right by the boat. So realized after the fight that I'd forgotten to turn it back on, but we'll at least show you what it looks like. There he is. And looks like first sub of the year. But come back, I was throwing back at that fish. He ate the trick worm. I was trying to get the mid-30s fish that I just raised on the jig to come back up, but maybe get it come back up later. So we're gonna fish up a little bit more and then turn around and start working our way back.
Yeah, if it works, it works. Easy for them to suck in.
And of course, my head's in.
Rattling worm.
Yeah. Good gosh. I hate wind. Have I ever mentioned that?
I hate it too, especially in a small boat. I say that in all boats, I guess.
Yeah. Man, I can't stay in the game. Breaking wind. I'm already 25 yards above where I raised it. It's blowing like dead straight up freaking stream.
Never made it.
Nah. Oh, got it. Get out of the motor, dude. And now my net's stuck on a knot in my rope, and now it's in the tree. Oh, he knows what that net is, that's for sure. Get over here, get over here. Actually, this might even be a different fish than the one I just raised. Oh man, this water's cold. You quit that, you quit. All right, so raised this one on the Bazooka Rattle Glide. Just couldn't get her to commit. Threw back with the trick worm again, like I did on the last fish, and this one come up and same result. Oh, running out of daylight, so I'll try to get at least one more in the bag before we gotta pack it up. So hopefully you enjoyed some of that action there. Unfortunately, that first fish I didn't get to eat on camera. As I was saying, whenever the wind's blowing me around, I get a little red-faced, and sometimes I forget to do stuff. So I got blown into that tree, and I mean, if there had been leaves on it, I'd have been eating a salad. We'll put it that way. I turned the camera off and grabbed the trick worm, pitched it back out there before I turned the camera back on, and that fish clobbered it right then and there, boat side. But that's just a break sometimes. I'm working on a way to keep it rolling all the time, but that was more of an effort to save battery on that trip. But I am in the process of getting either enough batteries or an external pack set up to where it's actually comfortable on my head, because I know there's a lot of guys out there that use the chest mount. I don't like the chest mount. I don't like the footage I get from a chest mount. I want you to be able to see everything that's going on, and if it's on my chest, it's not always pointing where my head's at, and my head's normally going toward the action. So anyway, I'll figure something out to, you know, keep it rolling nonstop comfortably for me on my head, and we won't have that situation arise anymore. But anyway, so I thought it was kind of funny. I was on the phone with Bo Whittington of Bozuka Baits there, and I raised a fish on his bait as I was talking to him. Then I pitched back with that trick worm, and you saw the result. So, you know, having a bait that you're super confident in pitching back to fish can mean the difference between you getting the skunk for the trip or having a couple hero picks like I did there. So sort through your box. I highly recommend having a soft plastic worm of some sort like that, especially in these smaller settings. I will say, if you are going to have something of that nature as a throwback bait, you need to have a leader that is effective in keeping them from biting you off, but also light enough to maintain the action of that bait. Now, in this case, it wasn't as important because I actually rigged this particular leader up as a Texas rig, so I had a bullet weight on that particular leader. And this was just an experimental round on this trip. Actually, I hadn't really done it much before then. And I was seeing, because in the summertime or when the water temps are finally up and they're after the spawn, they're hanging out toward the top more often, and I do this weightless a lot. Well, this time, you know, especially in the springtime, sometimes your water clarity is not the best in the world. So I was rigging it up with that bullet weight, seeing if I could get it down in their faces and see if they'd still smack those baits in the colder water temperatures. And it seemed to, I mean, it definitely worked on that trip, and there's been multiple trips since in that colder water that I was getting some action on that bullet weight rig. So might see some more out of that here in the future. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on Game Over Outdoors.